Week 3 of Britain's Got Talent Series 18 did not disappoint once again, as the amount of variety we had was absolutely sensational. We had wheelbarrows, we had magic, we had singers, we had an eagle on the stage, can you believe it? And not one, but two golden buzzers were pressed this week. One was a man as a golden buzzer, and the other was the group golden buzzer, which honestly I'm amazed. I'm so shocked we got the group gone bust in the third episode. We've got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of Britain's Got Talent Series 18, so let's get straight into the video. Now, I just want to clarify for you folks that this upcoming episode week, the 15th of March, there is no new episode for BGT. No, there's no new episode because of the Six Nations Rugby, which is taking place on Saturday. So, meaning we won't get any new episode for this upcoming week. So the 15th there'll be no episode, and in a few weeks time I'll be doing my predictions, my early predictions videos. So like I did last year and the year before, where I do my midway predictions, who I think will be in the final. I'll be doing that in after week 5, so stay tuned for that. Episode 5 to be exact. But honestly, I am very looking forward to this week's episode to review it, as it's honestly and it was just such a fantastic episode. We had so much good, we had quite a lot of good acts. Some were random, but random can be good as well. And to be honest with you, one of the acts I think we found the winner of BGT, which we'll get into later on in the video. So we'll get so. Yes, and also the Masked Singer's back, Ghostbusters theme. Group B's coming back, which is gonna be awesome. But I think without any further ado, let's get straight into this week's recap and review for BGT. I'm currently recording this on the Monday because stuff, but we can always get it out regardless. I was supposed to do it yesterday because I normally do it on the Sunday, but I didn't get really much time to do it. So let's just kick off the video with the first act of the night, and that was Dave Sheriff, who was a singer, and he is 76 years old, living in Telford, and he's been doing music for the past 51 years. And so he's basically a singer, plays guitar and plays the drums, harmonica, basically like a one man band, if you can call it. And his performance and this audition, honestly, I really liked. I wasn't too sure what I was going to make of it. My first impressions was I was like, okay, he's got a guitar, he's got a drum kit, or he's got a microphone, he's got harmonica. How is this going to like go bad or something? But no, actually, my expectations were very kind of unexpected, because I actually really liked this audition, and he performed his own original song called "Blackpool by the Sea," which is basically a whole song about Blackpool, as this year is set in Blackpool for the auditions this year. I don't know if they're going to do the same for the live shows. I've honestly got no idea. It would be rather cool if they actually did, but I honestly do not know, because to fit for the whole thing, I could see them doing Blackpool for the live shows. I personally think it'd be really cool. But back to the audition, he performed. He performed his original song called "Blackpool by the Sea," like I mentioned, is all about Blackpool. And honestly, I actually really liked his voice. I think he had a nice tone to his voice. And honestly, the crowd was enjoying every single moment of it. And honestly, I was watching it, just really having the best time. I was literally jamming along to that song. It was some good stuff. Honestly, I love these type of auditions. Just something you wouldn't really expect, and it was a very solid audition. I really liked it, and I could see him in the semi-finals, but at the same, but if he did, would that be a bit repetitive? Because look what Gambino Akuboy did last year. He did that song about the weekend, and then he did it again in the semi-finals. So I could see it getting a little bit repetitive in a way, but I would love to see what he could do next. Maybe he could do another Blackpool related song, kind of like maybe like a slower ballad or something. I would that would be very interesting to see. So Yeah, a very strong before start to the show from Dave Sheriff. Congratulations again, 4 yeses and moving on to the next round, and honestly a very solid audition, very good audition from Dave. And then next we had Amanda's Golden Buzzer, Ollie Pearson. Now, so let's talk about him first before we get into it. He's 11. He's from and he mentioned he's been playing the guitar since he was 7 years old, and his granddad actually taught him how to play the guitar. And he mentioned, I think he wanted to be someone like um, Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses. He said he wanted to be like Axl Rose. I mean, and honestly, not only Axl Rose is a phenomenal guitarist, but we've had as many guitar players up there. I can't. Sorry, hang on. Take a swig of water there. But there was honestly there's many brilliant guitar players out there. They've got Brian May, we've got Prince, who's no longer with us, Axl Rose, AC/DC. Axel, what's his name? Axel Young, not Axel Young. Is that his name? Axel Young. Axel Young. Was it AC/DC? Angus Young. That's not Axel Young. Axel Young. Basically, sorry, I got a bit, you know. So his audition, his performance actually included playing the guitar to medley songs of "Highway to Hell" by AC/DC, "Jump" by Van Halen, and probably the highlight of this audition was "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen, like one of the all-time great songs ever. And his showmanship and guitar playing was absolutely sensational, right? And I mean, for 11 years old to be playing the guitar like that is just absolutely just madness. And do you know what the best part of this performance was? When he started playing "Don't Stop Me Now," the audience started singing along, and it was honestly, it kind of, that just warmed my heart so much because literally, I want to quote something who someone said in the comments, and I completely agree with this because where is it? Where was it? Yeah, because honestly, every time when I was watching that, I was thinking to myself what Freddie would say, because Freddie once said, "I don't care what you do on my music, just don't make it boring." And let me tell you, he did not make this boring whatsoever. He made it an absolute concert. It felt like I was watching a whole legit show. He is that good for his age. And to be honest with you, did not expect Amanda to press the golden buzzer for him, especially because Amanda, that is a golden buzzer that's complete out of her kind of a wheelhouse. But oh my gosh, I am not complaining when she did it, because he is just absolutely remarkable. And to see his granddad witness that moment is just beautiful. I could tell the pride that he had in that young man. And I think KSI mentioned that he was already a star, and I think we are looking at a star. Like this is a star we're looking at. He is just off the scale, just absolutely fantastic. And I think we're gonna see. I would love to see what he does next, and also I just think he's amazing. It's going to be tough for the Golden Buzzers this year because we've got 5 strong Golden Buzzers this year so far. So it's going to really depend on what nights they're on. Because if one or three, one, two, or even 3 of them were on the same night, it would be so tough to choose who would go through. Because I would just love to see what he does next. I think he's got the potential to be a potential candidate to go far, and I would love to see that happen. So massive congratulations to Ollie. You so deserve this golden buzzer, and just amazing job. So the next performance we had was I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Troupe Abyssina. I'm very bad at pronouncing names, but they were an acrobatic group, hailed from Ethiopia, and they were currently living in London. And sadly, they didn't go through to the next round, which we'll get into just now. So the act started with them kind of jumping through several hoops, and they did the music routine they did was to celebrate by Pitbull, and the first impression when they started making it, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. But then they kept the hoops kept falling over. They kept knocking the hoops over, which sadly got them buzzed by KSI and Simon. And to be honest with you, I'm actually quite gutted that didn't go to plan, because it seemed, because the act itself looked very cool. It seemed like it had good potential, but sadly it didn't really work out well, and they didn't go through. Which, to be honest with you, I can understand why, because they kept missing the hoops. There was loads of mistakes, and I kind of feel bad for them, because I think this act does have a lot of promise, but it sadly didn't really go to plan. But of course, there's always next year. Maybe they can come back next year and attempt it again, and maybe they'll get it right, or maybe they could do America's Got Talent maybe this year. But who knows? Who knows? We'll only find out nearer to the time. But it was a good attempt from these guys. They did well what they did, but sadly it wasn't their moment to go through. They didn't bring it, sadly, which is a shame. So, and then next up we had David Bullet, the French variety act, and he hails from France, 53 years old, and I remember seeing him on France Has Got Talent a few years ago, or a few, was it? What year was it? Was it 2018 and 2014? Okay, so he was on both years, 4 years apart. So, which is pretty cool. So David, so my first impressions was, I think this was actually a very entertaining act, and Simon buzzed, but I think it was part of the act, which we'll get into in a sec. So the act started with David spinning a bunch of plates on a stick, and he balanced a makeshift Got Talent logo, and he did the routine to Lands 1,000 Dreams, and it kind of, I think the logo kind of went over the place, which I think was part of the act. Simon actually buzzed the performance, which I don't think he really gets the humour. I kind of got the humour. I thought it was part of the routine, which I thought was pretty fun. But and then he started tossing the plates, juggling the plates. He even threw one of them into the audience, which I thought was pretty cool. And then by the end of the routine, he got the plates back on the spinning sticks, and that was the act. And honestly, I might be a little bit biased here, and look, people can call me biased whatever they wish. I don't mind. But for me, this was pure entertainment. I actually really enjoyed this act, if I'm brutally honest. Like, and look, I know it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but and I don't really know if this is going to make the live shows. I'd be amazed if it actually did. But it's these type of acts that for me really make the raw variety. Like, it's an act I maybe consider the raw variety. It's entertaining. It's fun. I enjoyed it. He had good showmanship, and like I mentioned, it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I still really enjoyed this act. It was a decent audition, I'd say. It was passable. It was very passable, if that's even a word. But it was enjoyable. I actually quite enjoyed it, if I'm honest. But so he's got through with 3 yes votes from KSI, Alicia, and Amanda. But hang on a second, close me. Yep, hang on, close the window. It's a bit cold out there. There we go. So, yeah. But yeah, it was a decent audition. Decent job, David. You got through with 3 yeses, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I actually enjoyed it. Then we had the Chinese acrobatic Lan. I'm not going to pronounce his second name, because I know I'm going to really screw that name up, the second name. But Lan, he is a Chinese acrobat. And what I really found, and in my opinion, this was actually a really, really unique act. Not only was it unique, but I thought it was actually quite incredible. So he's an acrobatic. He's 47, and he worked as a performer at the time of his audition. And he mentioned that he wanted people to see his talents, and he mentioned it was dangerous and unique. And the act started with Lang kind of balancing on a set of eggs. He balanced on a set of eggs. Then he actually got and Anton Deck brought out buckets of water, and he actually started lifting the buckets of water, which was actually really impressive, if I dare say. That was really cool. Have some water again. Hang on. Nice and fresh now. So he used the bucket, and then for the next part of the routine, he climbed a set of stairs with balancing, and there was eggs on there. There was actual eggs, and he even cracked the eggs in the first bit of the routine. And they were actual real eggs. They weren't like plastic eggs. They weren't like the eggs you get at Easter. They were literally legitimate eggs. They were like real eggs. So he did that. Sadly, the first attempt didn't really go to plan. But the second attempt he nailed it. He went through it. He did the routine, and by the end, I was just mind blown. Like it's acts. I love seeing acrobatic acts on the show, and not only it was just unique, it was just incredible. It really was an incredible act. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this routine. It was very entertaining. Having me on the edge of my seat, seeing these type of acts on the show really has me exciting. Has me quite excited. So it was a really strong audition, and I can't wait to see what he does next. If he can maybe, I could, I can honestly see him do something even better. Like I don't maybe with the, maybe I it's going to depend because if it does the same, it could be a bit repetitive, or but at the same time, I really don't know. But I'm excited because I think this actor has definitely got some potential. And I can't wait to see what he does next. So next up, we had TK, which his real name is. I'm going to get up. His real name is Tosin, and okay, TK, who is the magician. A magician. We've got another magician on this year's show. The first magician being Teddy back in week 1, who is a football coach. He at the time he's 28 years old, and he mentioned that he loves magic and he wants to perform at the Royal Variety, and it would change his life. So his audition, firstly, was actually kind of the comical side. He asked Alicia to choose a number between 1 and 5, and she chose the number 4. Before showing, he was hiding the four fingers underneath the cloth for me. It was that was quite funny. So that kicked off, and then he asked her for a name, a suit of cards, and she chose the hearts, the Queen of Hearts. And he then opened up his palm and unfolded the card, and believe it or not, it was the hearts. So then we go to the next part with the phone routine, and he had then had Simon to think of a descriptive word for the magic that he just witnessed, and then he asked Simon to write it on a piece of paper and put it in his pocket, and then TK got his phone out with the Wi-Fi settings, and then it changed to charming, which was then Simon mentioned it was the word, which was charming, and then the whole theatre literally looked on their phones, and it was actually literally the word charming was on their Wi-Fi settings, and I honestly had no idea how he did that. It was honestly mind blowing to watch, and seeing magicians on this show, I love because. I know it's not real magic, it's just a trick, but still, it's still really impressive how he does it. And just there's something about him that's just so likable. I just think he's got he's the type of person I can see having loads of potential to go far. And what I liked about this audition was he did what any good magician does. Luring into a sense of illusion. He started his act as kind of basic, kind of quirky, funny, but as it came along, it became more serious, eerie, and almost kind of technical in a way. And just I honestly, literally, have no idea, how he did that with the phone trick. It was just absolutely brilliant. It was brilliant. It really was fantastic, and not only I think he's my favorite magician so far this series, But I honestly think he really could be a dark horse in the competition. I could definitely see him having a dark horse run and making it far. I honestly think if he can like step it up in the semi-finals, I think he could have a shot making it to the final. Because I think it's there's something about this young man I really like. There's something really likable about him, which I just it's just so he's not only he's just so cool. He's got good stage presence. He's got good showmanship, and just I love his confidence. I just think he's a great performer, a great magician, and I was just left blown away by this um audition. It was just fantastic, a fantastic audition, and just yeah, it was absolutely just brilliant audition. And then we had John Pierce, who is the singer who is from Essex, my county. Let's go. Who works as a music teacher for a school. He's originally from Wales, which mad respect to the Wales people out there. We all love Wales. And he actually went to the audition by himself. He didn't know family members came, and he actually mentioned that his daughter actually told him that her dream was to see her dad perform on the show, which I thought was so cute. I love seeing having their kids encourage their parents to go on the show. I just think it's really sweet. But and now, so his so so he, okay, so his performance, he did a operatic version of "Creep" by Radiohead, which I was not expecting that song, especially in that style. But I think in the beginning he sounded very nervous. I could tell his voice was very shaky. So Simon, like it was like a few seconds into the audition, the performance, and Simon kind of halted the performance for a second, and he said, I think you seem very nervous. Do you mind if we start again? And then he started again, and the audience, you could tell, were already rooting for him, and I was rooting for him as well, but the second attempt was just he blew me away with his voice. He was just absolutely sensational. Like he has got this type of operatic, like bell tongue type of voice I could see on the West End. The power in his voice was absolutely fantastic. And especially to that song. I mean, "Creep," is such an iconic song by Radiohead. I know it. I'm sure the majority of you guys know it. It's a very technical song for me, in my opinion, to hear someone do. But he absolutely delivered on this performance. It was just fantastic. It was brilliant, and on I honestly think I do think he could be one to look out for this year. I mean, we've already got two golden buzzers, who are definitely fan favourites so far, with Vinnie McKee and Stacey Leadbetter from the first 2 weeks. But honestly, John I think, is absolutely fantastic. His voice is remarkable. The tone, just the rendition, and the audience reaction by the end. And you could just see how much it means to him as well. That's what I also really liked about the performances. Not only he was phenomenal, but the audience were really rooting for him. So honestly, just a fabulous voice. It could be a real contender for the final. I think. It would depend, because I kind of hope they don't throw him under the bus. And especially because if he's in the semi-finals, he will need to bring it, especially depending on the night, but on who he's up against. But it's going to be really, really tough to see who goes through. To the because I definitely think he's got loads of potential to do well. I could see him in the final. I think he's got the potential to be in the final. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Just honestly, he was just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Then we had probably the most stupid act of the night, and the fact this act went through was absolutely crazy. Peter and Eagle. So it kind of started out with just Peter, and then who mentioned was a professional falconer. He'd been training with birds of prey, all that. But so basically, how it started was Peter gave Simon a whistle with the audience anticipating, So basically, someone blew the whistle, and I think the majority of the audience were waiting for an actual eagle. But in reality, it was basically a bloke dressed up as an eagle coming down on the stage. So I'm like a bird by Nelly Furtado, which Jesus Christ. And then basically, he did the majority of jokes rolling around. The punchline being bald eagle, which was just so stupid. It was just stupid. And just, you know, honestly, oh my god. Oh my gosh. Just, sometimes the acts we get on the show is just complete madness. Like, how this act made it through to the deliberation round is just, oh my gosh, man. Honestly, it's absolutely bonkers. Just bonkers. Wow. Well, if this gets into the semi-final, I don't know what else will. Just goodness gracious. Then we had Simon almost getting killed, basically, what people were saying. And that was Granithi Drillman, who is from India. I may have just mispronounced the name. I apologise. Danger Act, who was involved from India, who was a yoga instructor, But Jesus, goodness gracious, he was just bonkers, man. So the audition started with him smashing coconuts outside the shells and opening with his bare hands, crushing the beer cans with his teeth, and then pineapples, and basically got Simon on the stage, and basically had watermelons, coconuts, and then he got a sledgehammer. And he did this routine blindfolded. It was literally he was smashing the coconuts, the watermelons, and as, and Simon even was almost like getting up, and so basically the performance was buzzed by Alicia and Bruno, and then Amanda pressed hers and Simon's to halt the act, and just. It was terrifying as it was. It didn't go through, which makes perfect sense. But it was honestly just insane. Like the fact he's a yoga instructor is insane as well, because he's like a madman. He's an actual madman doing this act. It's just complete bonkers, just absolutely insanity. And I've actually read online he's actually broken quite a few Guinness World Records for the most heaviest. I'm reading this now. He's the heaviest vehicle pulled by a swallowed sword. Another one is the most items taken out of hot oil with bare hands, and it was actually on India's Got Talent, believe it or not, which I think was pretty cool. But yeah, it was no chance he was going through. It was just I don't know how to describe it. I do not know how to describe this act whatsoever. Then we had the Barlow Red Barrows, who are which is a basic group from Barlow, it's an actual town, and their act, I don't know what to make of it. I don't really know what to make of this act, to be honest, because so they basically came out with like these pilot outfits, like the gear wear, and they did like a routine running around using the wheelbarrows to Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins, and then there was like ramps. They were doing routines with ramps, and then they had the BGT 2025 written on each barrow to make their name, the name of the show. And I'm kind of indifferent about this act because it's interesting, but at the same time I don't know what to make of it. It's just a bunch of people doing an act, just wheeling around in wheelbarrows, just like there's nothing really that interesting in the act. It's not a very interesting act, to be honest with you, and just it didn't really do much for me, if I'm brutally honest. So yeah, but it didn't do much. So it was, I guess it was okay. Like Bruno mentioned, it's a very fresh sense of humor, but I really didn't get it, to be honest, if I'm brutally honest. But they got through, which is they got through, but I don't think they're gonna get to the semi-finals at all. So yeah, that was that. And now we have to talk about probably without question the best performance of the night. And not only that, but I honestly think we're already looking at the winners of BGT this year. I genuinely do mean as well. And we've got to talk about the Blackouts, who are an LED dance group. And let me tell you this is probably single-handedly the best performance I've ever seen on Britain's Got Talent in its history. And it was just... So they're from Switzerland, and the performance started off with like this fan. So the curtains were down, and it was literally in complete darkness. You couldn't see a thing. Then it had they had like a fanfare going off with so they had a fanfare with Buckingham Palace in the background. Then they did a routine. There was a car, and they did like this like. Then the part was to "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. Then they did more choreography, and and it was just absolutely insane. It was just I don't think I've ever seen an act like this on BGT ever. Then they did "Singing in the Rain" to do which is the track to George Sampson's winning performance, and then they performed a final bit of "Peanut Butter Jelly" by can't remember the artist, but it was just absolutely spectacular. And not only the choreography was absolutely phenomenal, but the technology with the LED lights and the timing, this whole act was just on another level. I've never seen, and that reaction, that is literally, that is what I call a reaction. I don't have ever heard a reaction that loud to an act as well on BGT. It's just, it really is one of the most phenomenal acts I've ever seen on BGT. And let me tell you, if this didn't get the golden buzzer, it would have been criminal, and I mean criminal. Just seriously, I honestly think this is the act I think could win the whole thing. I truly do think like we're staring at the winners of BGT. It's just not only it's phenomenal, but it's unique. It's something different. The way they involved the technology with the lights, and just it really was just something special. Honestly, I at this rate, I think these guys are going to be the ones to beat in the competition. It's honestly, I think I'm telling you right now, they are my winner pick. I don't care what anyone says. They are my winner pick. They're my choice to win this show. I want them to win so badly. It's absolutely just, phenomenal. It's just remarkable. It's just absolutely just off the scale to what I've ever seen on BGT. So they got the group golden buzzer, and rightfully so too. Rightfully so, because honestly, it's just phenomenal. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Just I could go on forever how much I love this performance. I'm saying it now. It's the best. It's one of the. It's the best performance I've ever seen on BGT. It's on another level. On another level. Just absolutely spectacular. And if this act does not win BGT, I'm going to be upset because it's not. This would be perfect for the Royal Variety. Can you imagine this act at the Royal Variety? It would just be just insane. Like I would pay, and not only that, this is like something in Las Vegas. This is Vegas. It deserves its own show at this rate. It's just that good. I would pay my money to see this act in concert. It's just phenomenal, absolutely sensational. So there you have it. That was episode 3 of Britain's Got Talent Series 18. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Just a quick reminder: there is no new episode on the 15th this week because, like I mentioned, of the Six Nations rugby taking place. So we'll miss an episode. I don't know if I'll do a video on Saturday. I probably won't. But I will do my predictions video for the final, my early picks. Kind of, closer to after the 5th episode, if that makes sense. So, once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe with notifications turned on. I would really appreciate that. But again, thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, I will see you guys next time.